back again.
Yep.
Back. What's the date today? June 15, 2021.
July, brother.
Oh, damn. You see how, like, listen.
I hope he did it on purpose.
Nah. I was dead serious and thought it was June. Like, that's how bad it is. But we back. I think this is episode 5, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Oh, let's get it, man. And you already know the name of the podcast. Make sure you click, subscribe, tap in, show love.
If I was you, I'd listen.
You know what I mean? That's my motto, man. Love is free and it's free to love. And we about to get right into it. But we are going to start with breaking news.
Which is?
Because what I love about this pod is we bring everything to the chat, right into the pod. Nah, it ain't nothing deep. You know, the whole Little Durk thing. You know what I'm saying? Look at you guys. You guys got
somebody was having a baby or something.
Breaking news.
Nah. Breaking news, man. Listen.
I'm like, Zeem is pregnant again?
You guys know I love my rappers who spit that real stuff. You're believable. But, man, Lil Durk is playing Grand Theft Auto with his life right now. So you guys got any quick thoughts just into that? Like what's going through Lil Durk's head?
Doc got the White Sox hat on.
Man,
Chicago.
Right. Is that north side, south side?
I don't know what it is, man. I just thought it was
Wild
a good
Hunters.
hat, man. Don't affiliate me. But nah, man. Hey,
Yo,
man, if you live that life, you gotta live with what comes with it.
Crazy.
That was crazy. Those girl was shooting too.
Shooting. All right, so she's a chick that deserves to get her bills paid when she's busting back at the ops.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, and I gotta ask you guys, what is this? What is the even thoughts on splitting bills? Do you feel women shouldn't pay any bills? Do you feel it should go half, 40%, depending on the occupation? Like, what is your matriarch and patriarch household thoughts on that? Because I'm ready to go in.
All right, hold on. Before you
know
do
me.
that. I think that this is a very sensitive topic. Every time it comes to finances, it's just a very sensitive topic.
Facts.
This is 2021. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And, women are equal to men. Men are equal to women.
Facts.
So I think that, like, if I'm in a position where I'm making a lot more money than the person that I'm with, then,
Yep.
I'll shoulder more of the bills.
More of the bills.
Like if that makes sense. I feel that if a woman makes a lot more money than the man, then there's no shame in having that woman pay the majority of the bills.
Now, society's going to look down on that man for the simple... Like, I for an example, I'm looking at Nicki Minaj and her man, right?
Yeah.
Big
At the-
Zoo.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we all know she obviously is the breadwinner.
Yep.
She's bringing home the bacon. As a man, do you feel okay with that? Like, how do you look at that approach and overall?
I think it's all right, man. Like, I think what gets it misconstrued is like when it hits social media, everybody puts an opinion out there. Everybody says something that it's going to give them likes, retweets that they don't even necessarily believe in or live themselves.
right.
But I think Josh said it perfectly. It all depends on your situation. Like, if you make much more than your significant other, it don't make sense to go 50-50 because, like, your half is a lot more to them if they're trying to keep up to that other half.
Absolutely.
So really, I mean, if your society's changed, man. This ain't the 60s where, like, women weren't able to get jobs that they're able to get now. Like,
opportunities are there.
Women are out in the workforce. They're able to be lawyers, doctors, police officers, anything they want nowadays. So, like, if you make more than me, then so be it, man. I'll hold my part down,
Right.
but I don't have no shame in saying, all right, you make more, then you'll cover, but I'll try to do it in another way. Like, let's say you pay majority of the bills. I'll cover all the utilities. I'll make sure the cable's paid.
Right.
I'll make sure the car note's paid. So it's just got to be whatever works best for your relationship.
All right, so you make $55K.
Yup.
Your spouse makes $62K. Your female spouse, obviously. Well, whatever you prefer.
Non-gender conforming.
Yeah, exactly. I got to make sure I got to clean that up.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to beginning stage of the podcast be part of the cancel culture.
Yeah.
All right, so that that's the splits right there. Mortgage comes in $2,400.
Yup.
What?
Cable bill. I'm just throwing stuff out there. You know what I mean? I'm just going with me with even numbers right now. All right, 2,000, make it easy. I don't know, whatever. Mortgage, 2,000. Cable bill, 150. Electric, 200. Gas, 300. So on and so forth.
50-50.
as a man,
50-50.
We're sitting at the table. You're comfortable.
Yeah,
with
like
your significant
if the
other.
salary's that close, then it should be 50-50.
Yeah.
All right, but what if she comes after you and be like, "No, I think you should pay the majority of this."
All right, so I'm gonna say this, right? That
Because you're the man.
this argument kind of like makes its way on social media, like Doc was
Facts.
saying, and I always look at it and like all these guys, oh, I pay all the bills,
Right.
and then all these women, oh, I'm not paying a bill. My dad never had my mom pay a bill, and, and like none of my boyfriends ever made me pay a bill. And I'm saying to myself, I know it's BS. I know it's lies. Like there are situations that do exist like that. Like if you're a man that's making a certain salary, then yeah, you can completely shoulder all the bills.
Right.
If you're a woman that looks that good, that can attract a man, that can pay all those bills and willing to do it,
Right.
that does happen. But a lot of people be lying.
Yeah,
about
for sure.
So why? Why do you think this
'Cause it's
this
just-
need to put
social
out this
media,
perception?
like you want to just look cool. You wanna create you're probably bored. You want to create a conversation,
Right.
like and if you do make similar salaries, it don't necessarily have to be right down the middle split,
Yeah.
like 50-50 on everything. But you could sit at your dinner table, have a conversation, like, yo, all right, I'm gonna cover this amount of the bills, and then you cover this, whatever works best. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I think nowadays with social media,
It's dangerous.
it's dangerous with the memes, with the female perception of it puts the man in like those hard pressing situations. And this is when they go out of their way to live a certain lifestyle or keep up or at least satisfy their own household by doing things that will get them jammed up. You know what I mean?
For sure, and I think the rappers play a big role in it too, because it's
Facts.
like Moneybagg Yo is
Right.
is buying. The trend was buying cars for the
Right.
birthday,
Right.
and it's just like damn, we not rappers, man. And like
Facts,
you got to
facts,
remember,
facts.
at the end of the day, them dudes is entertainers. So
Right.
they're saying or putting out there whatever's gonna make them look cool, whatever
Yup, yup.
reality they want to give them attention. And I think in this generation specifically, and we are included in
Right.
this generation, not just targeting like the younger
Right,
age
right,
group.
right.
We tend to see something on social media and we believe that that's the way it should be. If Nicki Minaj say that your dude ain't right if he ain't paying
Right,
everything,
right,
if the
right.
city girls say it, then that's law. You know
I
what I'm
can't
saying?
lie. When the city girls come on the club, I go to the bar. I go to hide.
I go to the bathroom.
Because it's like, yeah,
I
the
go to the
bathroom. I don't even want to be
But
seen.
let me ask you a question though. Is it like I feel like it's all where you're dating. Like, what's your like dating pool? Like, if I'm working at a school and I meet another teacher,
Right.
She's not on some like, oh yeah, all my bills better be paid and yada 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 yada.
Yeah.
If
I like
you
that, I like
you know,
that.
it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
all about where you because like when I was single, I was actually looking for someone
week?
that. No, I wasn't single
Oh,
last week.
no,
Don't
shit.
get me. Don't you start
Zeem
it.
on here trying to get you in
I try to kill it real quick.
Don't you get started.
He's quick with it. All right, go
When I
ahead.
was
I'll
single,
do that.
I just felt that I would want to date somebody that, for lack of a better term, they say is equally yoked. Like if I'm making a ton more money than the person that I'm with, like then it could work.
Right.
But chances are it's not, because like when money gets involved, a lot of feelings get hurt.
That's the
people
number
get
one
upset.
reason for divorce, to be
Yeah.
real, financial.
Yeah, that's
and like
true.
growing up, it never resonated with me. My father was always like, "Yo, date someone that got the same mindset as you, like that's
right.
on the same path as you, like what I
Right.
mean." Because there's a lot of situations where, like and like you said, that's a good point. Dating, whatever your dating pool is, like a lot of people. If a man's paying 100% of the bills, if a woman's paying 100% of the bills, you don't got. If that woman want to come home the next day, who are you to tell that person to come home?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's a great point. I'm gonna keep it a buck, right?
Is that how you feel?
No, that's how I feel.
Oh.
Because at the end of the day, like when I was coming out of college, I worked at a group home. You know what I mean? And trying to make end meets, and obviously I was promoting on the side, wherever the case may be. But that promoter money was light money during that time. It was just to buy me nice things and do things that I wanted to do. But I couldn't go home to wifey and be like, yo, where's my this? Where's my that? I had to hide in my household. You know what I mean? Like, I
Talk
couldn't-
low, talk
I
low.
gotta talk low.
Take
I couldn't
that
pump
bass
out
out
my
your voice.
Make sure that TV ain't on too loud.
I'm like, damn, I gotta wait till she's done with this show because I can't even debo the TV right now. It was like, no, I'm being dead serious. And but then when I started elevating and the money started coming in, and now, I puff out my chest a little bit. Now I'm just like, yo, if I'm paying the majority of the bills, don't ask me where I'm going, what I'm doing, how I'm doing, whatever the case may be. Now, is that a messed up mindset, or is it because I experienced it this way?
I'll say this. If that's your woman and like you are paying majority of the bills and you're taking, it's a respect factor,
right?
Because you're showing respect to your lady that, like, you know, all right, even though I may be taking care of majority of X, Y, and Z, right, in return, she may be making sure the house is well kept, right, making sure there's a hot plate on the table every night.
The kids are taking a shower.
So there is a certain respect level of basically saying like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, I may be doing this, but you're doing this in return, so I'm gonna give you that respect. All right, I'm stepping out. I'll be back this time. Da 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 da. But for what the memes and stuff that we be seeing on social media, like one time I had to unfollow this girl, man. It was so crazy. She talking about I got an old, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it said I got an old school mindset. If you're not paying all of my bills,
I remember
and so I can save, and if something goes wrong with you, then we could dig into my stash, then you're not for me.
Right,
and I never comment on them type of stories. My hand was like, I want to type something back. But I mean, I'm unfollowing it. Like, that's unrealistic. Like,
I agree.
To be real, you're becoming like you're becoming a slave to that man.
Well, I think you made a good point, and I think that for a lot of people, depending on what your dating pool is, it can become transactional.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you look good, I got bread, let's get together. And is that really something you want to build a foundation on?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that goes into this whole narrative that's been going on for years, this whole sugar daddy thing. We see all these bad Johns and all these exotic islands, and it's always, them just alone. But obviously, someone's sponsoring that. And I would like to believe, I want to give women their credit that they work hard or they do what they have to do to financially support themselves. But when you know that there's, no job, there's no this, or whatever their occupation is not sustaining this lifestyle they're trying to portray, then this is when we get into these sugar daddy narratives where those memes come up and the jokes come up, whatever the case may be. And then we see it too. We see some girls be with like 40, 60-year-old dudes, and this been going on since high school. Like I said, I remember when I used to take the bus.
You see the drug dealers
picking up the young chicks, and I'm like, damn, I ain't got no shot.
But keep it real though, and I'm not gonna say who said this.
Yeah.
But we have spoken to this person, and they said, listen, especially in Rhode Island, if you're a man and you got money, you could ball till you fall, bro. Like, you could be 45 out here still mobbing, 50 out here still mobbing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's always going to be the next group of women that are coming up that you can impress with your money. Right. And just like there's always, a fresh group of dudes who come into some new money, whether it's business, whether it's legal, illegal, whatever, and these women can choose to pick from that group.
And it's crazy because as a person at a certain point was like, making good money and was able to save and do, like, I felt into the trap of like, damn, I gotta look like these dudes. Like, I can't, it feels different when you slip on those Balenciagas and put on that Gucci t-shirt. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it just feels like a different,
or Balmain t-shirt.
A Balmain, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a different feel, and that's me getting wrapped up into the narrative. Like, this is what these chicks want to see and perceive, and at the end of the day, I think a lot of these dudes dress for other dudes anyway.
It's certain. That's 100% fact. So, I remember I went through different periods of life. Yep. So I remember in high school, growing up in New York, you really had to have the correct clothing on, or you would make it through a day of school.
Facts.
Then I transitioned. I went to school, Wheaton. I went to Wheaton and Mass, where it didn't matter what you wore. Like,
no, that's real.
If you played on the sports team, or if you cool kid, got it. You know what I'm saying? And then I transitioned back out of school, lived in New York for a little bit, then moved permanently to Rhode Island. It's like we seeing the same 50 people every weekend.
Facts.
Like, people going already. I have this conversation all the time. If you got it, they gonna know you got it. So for the most part, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like majority of the people's competing amongst other men. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
women compete with other women too.
Women competing with other women. So it's just like it's like a high school in a sense.
Yeah.
Because let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
So I think that I had one friend in my life, maybe two, that were like, yo, if a chick don't got on this, and this, like labels, then I'm not messing with her.
Right.
Like, for the most part, we don't care.
Yeah. Men don't care, but I honestly feel
what a woman has on.
Yeah. And I feel like they care in regards to us because they're trying to. It's all about status nowadays.
Yeah.
And like now I'm looking at it. It's not even with social media now. It's not even about the financial aspect of it. How much can you generate eyes on us as a couple? And I know it's weird. I really think that goes on.
But I agree with you and I disagree with you.
All right, break it down.
Like, I think that like we said, it just depends on who you're with, bro. Like, if you were the chick that, like, went out and got her body done and is trying to be, all in the mix, or starting a small, or she's starting a small business, or she's trying to become
line, skincare line.
Yeah, or she's trying to become like a, like a hair model or something like that. Yep. Then she gonna want to be with somebody who she feels like can increase her profile.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Like a bottle girl, for the most part, I could be wrong. I don't think they're gonna date a teacher. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's
damn,
all
I ain't got no chance.
What
about a vice principal, man? I don't know.
But I think like,
now, if I get your premise,
but I think that other crew, like women that work in education, women that work in law, women that work in like all other fields, they're for the most part they're not even caring about like that like how many followers you got, what you're wearing. They care more about like, all right, does this guy have a place to live? Like, what's his financial status? What's his goals? Things like that. So it really depends.
Yeah, no, that's real talk.
Yeah,
I gotta piggyback off that, and just in the sense of I think it's a good dynamic. No, it really is. How can I say it? A situation where I think social media drives the narrative and puts the pressure on different pockets of society.
Yeah,
because like you said, as a supermarket's different than a club. A club's different than meeting them at work. A work is different than meeting them on vacation.
Networking.
So on and so forth. Networking, whatever the case may be. So it is all about the mindset and mentality.
Because you gotta understand, right? So obviously, like we talk every single day. So like when I would go before the world shut down, I'm going to like all these networking events, like the Millennial RI, going to like the Rick Gala and stuff like that, where women be so happy just to see a man.
Yeah.
And they be so happy to see like a man of color. So they're like, oh, like, all right. So it's just different dynamics. Like some of the most likes I ever got on an Instagram post, I had on like if you include my sneakers, I had on maybe $100 outfit.
Right. No,
you know what I'm saying?
I get it, and it all depends on who follows you, who you follow, what's your algorithm look like.
Algorithm, I love it.
I just really learned what that word meant the other day too.
Yeah, listen,
algorithm.
It's a real thing. Yeah. People invest money on what their algorithm looks like, who's following them. What the new thing now, IG just impressions.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? So you could turn your anything into a business page and look at the impressions, who's seen it, who shared it, who did X, Y, and Z. And I think that stems into all of that. But listen, all I know is if I'm paying majority of the bills, I just want to come home to a clean home.
Majority of decisions?
Well, I just want to come home to a clean home.
If you're paying the majority of the bills, are you making the majority of
I'm
decisions?
making a majority of decisions.
Okay.
I think I think that just a given. I feel like if you're willing to omit payment,
I don't think necessarily make a decision, but like if you have an idea, we're gonna talk about it, but I'm gonna have the final say on like, all right, yeah, we're gonna do this, or no, I don't think this is a good idea to do this.
Especially if I'm coming up. But this is my thing. If I am paying majority of the bills, where the hell is your money going into?
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say.
Like,
and I'm not saying you got to spend your money
and
to spend and just to match what I'm doing and run yourself broke.
Right.
But damn, like I'm not gonna be the only one breaking my back and like the girl said, pocketing until in the case something bad happens.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just
that's all. But Josh, like what do you tell a female that they should do with their money? And obviously you're having this conversation because it's someone you trust, you feel like obviously a long extended relationship with. Yeah. Where's their money going?
I think that as a couple, you have to have a goal. And like as a man, like men say some like wild stuff like, oh, I want a chick to submit to me, which in
that
my
sounds
eyes,
crazy.
what I'm thinking is, if I'm exhibiting good leadership as a man, as a leader, as a provider in the household, then everything flows after that. Like, so if I'm like, hey, I already own a crib, let's start saving for you to buy a house in your name.
All right, Josh, and that's great. I'm not even poo-pooing that.
Yeah.
But relationships can end at any time. So while you are doing everything in your power to elevate this person, just like this, one incident, a bad decision on your part or her part can end all that.
But that's life.
Yeah, and you don't get into something thinking that you get in. If you're gonna get into something that deep,
Might
you
as well
gotta
sign
be
a
all
prenup.
in. Yeah.
Prenup just it like we see it all the time. You can look at a dude or a girl and be like, their significant other elevated them in a social way,
And
or
not for
money wise.
and not for nothing. Like it's just social media is great, but it ruins a lot of things.
Yeah,
like
the perspective
A lot
of
of
things.
a lot of dudes, don't want that lifestyle. I believe a lot of women don't live that lifestyle. But it just sparks to say. It gives a lot of retweets, a lot of people to comment. Like what I've noticed in this pandemic. People are bored. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
People will
yeah,
say
yeah.
something on social media just to get a reaction,
Shock
just to
value.
get conversation, shock value, just to
Yeah.
get conversation flowing. So, I mean, I get it, but,
That's the world we live in,
yeah,
man.
yeah. It's that really
so
what it's transitioning
So
to.
let me ask y'all this, right? So, the next thing that kind of ties in with this is the after the breakup, the bounce back, and then the posting to try to make the other person mad. Have y'all ever seen this, experienced this?
Man, that's a real thing. And honestly, I get it.
Yep.
First of all, because it's weird. You have reality, and then you have virtual reality. And reality is going to suck, right? That's real life. That's the bills, the stress, the health reasons, family issues, whatever. But virtual reality, I can present and post anything I want and create my own narrative and optics for the people who are following me and viewing me, right? So if I have a breakup and everyone knows my significant other, we've been together 4 or 5 years, whatever, and damn, I see her on vacation. Damn, I see her with the new man. Damn, I'm sizing him up. I heard he makes 6 figures. I'm like, oh damn, he got the new Balenciagas. Like I don't even got those yet.
You got the one
like,
for 2017.
I got the one for 2017. The socks. I still got the socks. I'm trying to bring that out to base. But even my Montclair's not even up to par. I gotta go out of pocket, literally out of pocket, to emulate this lifestyle that I'm okay. Emotionally, I'm okay. I don't really care. I'm crying on the inside, but I'm going to portray this. And people do that all the time. First of all, with their sub-tweets or sub-IG story posts, with their captions. Oh, the captions are the worst.
Or the captions.
Then you hit the group chat like, yeah, under my thing, put fire emojis. Like I'm telling you, this is a real thing. This is like, you're laughing, but this really goes on because you got to flex. You got to show the virtual reality that I'm okay, but even though you're hurt inside, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And at the end of the day, the guy had a kid on you, whatever the case may be.
Oh my God.
Whatever the girl can have a kid on you. They move to another state. It's a lot of ish that can go on, and you gotta flex. You gotta act like everything's okay.
For sure, I agree 110%. Like, and yo, so when I started following some of my young boys, like I didn't even know this was a thing. Like
What?
they'll literally like DM you the pic and be like for like,
Yeah.
go comment on my pic, bro. I'm like, what? Like, this is the mind you the post this on your story. Like, I thought that was all. I'm like, damn, this dude getting love,
Right,
but I
right.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, you're promoting yourself,
Yeah.
and this is human nature. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like if your significant other, you guys break up and they move on,
Right.
you're gonna look and you're gonna be like, damn, are they better than me?
Right,
What's
right.
out the issue? Like, are they
Right.
doing? No, he don't look better than me. He don't got more money than me.
Right,
It's just a
right,
natural thing. So you know.
At the end of the day, you can't be mad at either party trying to do what they're trying to do. Because like I said, social media is all a facade. And I fall into that game as well. Like, you know what I mean? I could take an L. For an example, I know this is like whatever. I can only speak from my perspective. You know, I've been promoting for mad long.
Yep.
It can be a lit-ass party, right? Obviously, you guys used to know what I used to do. Got the hookah smoke going. Yo, we lit. You know, that's like 3 weeks in a row. We get a Friday. It's light. like, damn, let me angle this. Let me just show this corner right here real quick. Let me boomerang this. Yeah, I mean, we lit, but you could tell the difference. So that's what I mean. Like, we're always trying to put up this facade. I know it's different than a breakup, but meaning like when you're having these wins and everyone's loving you, it feels good. When you're having these breakups and these L's, it hurts. It hurts the soul. It's like, damn, what did I do? What can I do? And I don't know. What have you seen in regards to that? What do you think about this whole situation?
All right, so you guys know me for a long time now.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit different.
All right, explain the differences.
I'll go cold on the chick after a breakup. Like I could once I break up with you, I don't.
But let's say this. Let's say this because it's a good point.
Yeah.
Without how long does it like? All right, there's a difference.
Yeah.
You can go cold after a breakup.
Yeah.
But how long does it get to you to that point? So there could be a time where you should have did it maybe 2 years ago, but then when you finally did it 2 years later, you went cold.
You went cold.
So in that situation,
and when your friends are telling you to get
well,
out,
I'm gonna get him. Nah, but listen, right? And so I was in a very long relationship, and I was leaving the relationship in the last year. I was kind of but even still, when I was dating and we talked about it, and you're like, yo, you don't speak to that person. I'm like, nah. I just operate differently because I can put the phone down.
No, and I'm with you on.
And I'm with you on that too. And I think what Dot's about to say too, that's cool and dandy. But when you know everybody in your family, your friends know about this breakup. Yeah. I'm asking you, what is your flex during that time? How do you show the people that I am okay?
So you guys know me. So since my breakup, it just been up since then.
So you felt like a weight was lifted over your shoulder?
Not like a weight, because I don't have anything negative to say about that person. But just if you look at I actually broke up with a girl and I left a side hobby. Yep. And since that time, it been up. So me living in my everyday natural state.
But I would say this though, because we know you. Yeah. I would say your flex was you had went on a specific time. Yeah. Where, because if you know Josh, he don't go out. Yeah. He don't and if he does go out, he's gone by 140.
137. I'm out the door.
But I feel like when you got past that, situation before into your new lovely situation. Yep. I would say from the outside looking in, your flex was you lost a lot of weight, you got in shape, and you started to enjoy life more. Because if you know Josh, his enjoys of life is, sports, books, podcasts. That's what he loves. The internet, he loves that stuff. But you started to go outside of that. You say, all right, I'll go to a bar. I'll go out to eat with friends. I'll go to a club. You know what I'm saying? Right. And we never really, and I think I known you since 2013?
Yeah.
I didn't get in, you were in that situation for I would say 2.5, 3 years of me knowing you. Yep. I had never saw that side of you until about 2017.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that was your flex.
Nah, that's true. And I think that I don't ever put myself above the fray. You know what I'm saying? But I think that Shawn brought up a good point, man. If you have a breakup, depending on how it went, there will be an initial shock, probably. Yeah. Oh damn! Did I do the right thing? Can you make a clean break? Right. But then what Shawn's talking about, just going out, enjoying life, and experiencing things. That's such a flex because if you're just cool and secure within yourself, right. What someone posts on social media, a chick posting a bikini pic, right, a chick posting a pic on vacation, a chick posting up with another dude, a chick posting a video with the dude that has the watch and the tattoo on his hand.
Oh, that's the worst.
I'm super happy for you. Right. I'm living a good life over here.
And you can't go into hiding because once you go into hiding, people gonna assume that you're sad. You go on social media, people gonna assume you're doing the most. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man. Yo, listen. Game 4, NBA Finals. Finally broke 10 million viewers, and they did not leave that game disappointed. It was physical.
Oh, it did 10 mil?
It did finally 10 million.
Wow, good for them.
So they did not leave disappointed. I thought it was a well-played game. By Devin Booker was incredible.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton was incredible.
Devin Bryant, right? Kobe Booker?
Not even the same class. Nah, yo, I know, but you want to know what? I get it. Because,
Right.
like, he was mentoring him. And
yeah.
Devin Booker has some of the embryonic stages of Kobe, but
Right.
Kobe at 24 was
Yeah, Kobe
dunking on
would've
Yao
did-
Ming.
Yeah. He's way more athletic.
It was like Devin Booker, like his next evolution would be being able to get to the rim consistently.
And
I think.
he's doing like finesse layups, floaters. He not.
He really like has that light skinned stoic approach about him, like chip on the shoulder, like you Negroes been picking on me all my life.
Oh
You
my
didn't let
God.
me sit at the all black exclusive
Yo,
table.
this
And
kid-
he
yeah,
plays the
he's
game
the
like I'm
others-
telling you. I seen it since Kentucky, man. Like he was mad at the the Harris twins.
Yeah.
He didn't
Oh,
want
yeah,
to
he
see
was a six man.
Six
He didn't
man.
stop.
He
didn't
used to go to
stop.
Cal like he'd even dap Cal up when he went to the bench for the subs. I'm telling you, he got that edge about him, which I always
Which
been
is
a
good.
fan. Which always been a fan.
You
So
need
shout
that.
out to him. But
So let
can
me
I
ask
be
you
honest?
this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So let me ask you a question. So the last podcast we talked about CP3, and
Yeah.
I think the CP3 conversation went up and down this whole playoffs. Like when this first started, it's like, oh man, he's hurt again. They're about
Yeah.
to lose in the first round. Then they end up making the finals. He has a great game against Denver, closing them out.
Right.
He has a great game against the Clippers, closing them out.
Closing them out, yep.
He starts off the finals like a ball of fire,
32
cooking.
points, yep.
But now, man, he looked bad last night.
Man,
He looked bad.
He did. And you know who I blame?
Uh-oh.
I blame Monty.
So anybody else, like if you ever say like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton can't get a rhythm because of Greek, you can't blame Greek.
No.
But now you blame
No,
Monty Williams.
it's not a rhythm
Why
thing.
you- all
'Cause
right,
that's
so why
you
do you
love
blame-
that rhythm thing.
So why Monty Williams get the blame?
He's not. All right, Chris Paul is the point guard. That's his nickname.
Yup.
Whatever. He initiates the offense. Monty, after the debacle of not playing Devin Booker in Game 3 in the fourth quarter, had the mindset of let me drum up all these plays and had Chris Paul in the corner where he was easy. You seen it. Everything for Devin Booker to get him engaged into the game early. And at that point, you're cooking. At age 36, you just can't tell him to drum up.
So basically what you're saying is
I didn't use the word rhythm.
no,
I'm
but
just
you're
saying-
basically so you're not using the word rhythm, but you're saying the same thing that I'm literally
Yeah,
was trying
no,
to tell you.
I'm
Because
just-
so CP3 can't get off because we're trying to focus the offense too much on Devin Booker.
Yep.
But when somebody tells you Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton may be struggling because they're watching Greek Freak dribble from the perimeter, it's nonsense.
No,
You catch
because it's
yourself
different.
every
No,
time.
it doesn't.
Nah.
Because
You
Devin
got
Booker
receipts in real life? He pulled a receipt on you in real
listen,
life.
Devin Booker can't facilitate, right?
So, actually, Devin Booker, before Chris Paul got there, played point for them a lot.
Yeah.
He did, but he played point to run the set offense. You know the difference between you're a coach. You know what facilitating
but
is.
what I'm
Creating
saying to
shot
you-
for others.
Yeah, but what
it's
I'm
one
saying
thing
to
to
you-
bring the ball up and run the offense.
Zeem, but what I'm saying to you is that two things. Devin Booker is a player that can get his and get others involved.
No.
Yes,
I
he is.
disagree.
He put it on
Yes,
the
he is.
you seen with the
Yes,
play
he
to
is.
Ayton. Greek just made
Yeah,
a great
bro,
play.
like,
Yeah, because that's a
And-
set play. Dog,
That's
you-
not a
pick
set
and-
play.
it's a pick and roll.
The help came and he dished it. That's
Bro,
what he's supposed to do.
but-
Zeem.
And then Devin Booker said, "I also had the option for the corner."
But
so
that's
that means
basketball.
no,
That's-
it's not basketball.
Zeem,
it's a set
that-
play that Monty threw.
That's
No,
not.
but
That's
that's-
not really.
that's-
That's not a set play. That's like what they call like a concept.
or reading
Okay.
the defense.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
read
Read and react. Yep.
So, but the thing is, like, all right, so a player at Chris Paul's caliber, his skill set,
Yep.
and his IQ, if they like the first 4 to 6 minutes of the first quarter are going out their way to get Devin Booker involved, that's not taking Chris Paul out of anything. Now, hold on, wait. That's not taking Chris Paul out of anything he normally does, because Chris Paul's calling card is that he can score.
Yep.
But he always facilitates and gets others involved, and,
Right.
and he's able to pick his spots to get his offense. That's literally what his strength is.
His calling card, absolutely. And I just felt in that game yesterday, Book was just cooking. And you like, it would have been idiotic on Chris's part, leadership wise, to try to insert himself into the game to disrupt the person that put us up 8 points, 9 points during that time.
But also, what you're not saying also is the first 3 games of the series, Chris Paul's had 15 turnovers.
Yeah, because
So he hasn't played well this finals.
Well, game 1 he played
Game 1 he
excellent.
did, yeah.
Game 2, all right. The turnovers are a huge issue, and I contribute that to Drew Holiday and PJ Tucker.
But games Game 2 is when they made the initial switch of putting Holiday on him most of the time.
Right, and as you can see, Drew Holiday is obviously giving him trouble. Like we stated offline, Drew Holiday was smaller gods, just him being 6'4" and he looks about 195, 200 solid, you know what I mean? Gives these guys trouble and picking them up full court. But at the end of the day, this is what I don't like about you guys. You guys take this one pocket and then all of a sudden diminish the rest of his career.
I'm not diminishing the rest of his career. The thing I was trying to say is, so
you're not trying to because you said, oh well, last week you said top 5.
So what I was trying to say is, my point was last week is, so he just needs to win a ring and that automatically puts him in the top 5. So what if he plays, my exact point, if you could remember last week, I said, so what if he doesn't win the ring? What if he plays bad? Then what?
And he's at number 7.
But you can't do that.
But listen, right? That's the barbershop conversation. So we've had battles in the chat over Melo.
Yeah.
And I like to troll Dot about Melo, but I say, all right, every now and again, I'll throw him a bone and be like, all right, here's what I think of Melo. He's actually really good, and here's what he does. Because I can say Melo's probably not at the level that we thought he was going to be at as far as like a LeBron and Wade, but he still does all these things well. But the problem with CP,
individually,
I just think that Melo needed to be like either like the 1A and have a 1B, or be the number 2 to a number 1.
So Amari was never that.
No,
Amari got hurt.
Amari got hurt by the time he got
Amari
there.
was hurt.
But what I'm trying to say is, you can't just say, all right. I'm not saying you can't literally, but it's not fair to say that, like, he just needs to accomplish one thing and then he can jump skip everybody else and get there. Because you're taking away from what everybody else that did more before.
Yeah, no, but why do they play basketball for?
To win the game.
To win the game, to win the championship. Not everyone can accomplish that. So you have to give some type of boost and credit for the ones who actually do.
But let me ask a question this.
Let a team.
Hold on, Zeem. Hold on.
To the number 2.
Let me ask you this. Right? Do you think that Chris Paul is appreciably better than he? So do you see Chris Paul as being appreciably better than he was when the playoffs started? Has your actual opinion of his impact and effectiveness on a game and team changed from when the playoffs started?
Yes, because when I seen what he did in Denver and when
without Jamal Murray.
Oh, see, that's
what
we're
gonna do now. For nothing.
Now that's what we're gonna do.
But that's why I say this big series is gonna tell a lot, because the Phoenix Suns are a very good team. Right. I'll give them that. But they haven't faced any adversity this whole whatever that word is. This whole playoffs.
I agree to that. But at the end of the day, whoever's out there is out there, and he performed. Then secondly, he did it in that closing game 6
against the Clippers
versus the Clippers
without like 3 of their guys.
So let me ask you a question.
But that's what I'm saying. Now, if we're gonna keep doing that,
but you did that to Steph Curry for years.
When?
Saying that the championship they won in 2015,
he didn't get a Finals MVP.
That was GSW.
There was
as
no
a whole.
Kyrie in love.
That was GSW and the validity of that trophy.
But he was their star player. He was their best player.
All right, but I never took a personal gripe at him.
Focusing on the topic at hand.
Yep.
Why? My biggest thing was that I still don't understand is what has CP3 done. He turned around 3 franchises. He made over 4 teams playoff contenders. Yeah, but
he
that's
increased
fine.
It.
So let
that's
me ask you,
fine, right? That's the name of the game.
If I could stay on a team for 20 years and I got to the finals 9 years of those 20, so what? I did it with one team. I didn't have to go to other teams.
Yeah, but
do you think that this team is better than the Clippers team that he was on when they had their best team?
No.
What do you think? Like when they had JJ, Blake.
Clippers are better than the Suns.
Way better.
So,
DJ.
but that's what. So I think this is where the point of contention is kind of between.
Because he couldn't win there.
Is because he kept getting.
But
hold on, listen. No, but
now it's who's out there, and then now
he got
on his actual team. On his actual team.
There was times when there weren't injuries and they lost. They blew it multiple times.
Remember when they lost the Rockets? When
they lost to Memphis,
up 3-1.
I
remember that one.
Yeah, you know what? I just
a lot of factors.
So I think that's the point. So let me ask you this: Giannis Antetokounmpo. Listen, so you guys know I love me some Giannis. What do you guys think his place is in the NBA as of right now? We're at Game 4. Is he a top blank player in the league?
To me, he is a top 5 player without a doubt. And I'm honestly leaning towards he's in the top 3.
Yeah, he's top 5 for sure.
Top five.
And what he is doing, like what I'm noticing is, if it's not appealing to the eye, it gets blasted. It's because he doesn't have the crossover tween, double tween, fillet, whatever the case may be. It doesn't look pretty.
Yeah.
But a guy who shoots over 58% from the field, who averaged over 14 rebounds, who's going to get you 2 blocks, going to get you 3 steals a game, and team for the Bucks that had the best record over the last 3-year span during his amazing run, you got to give that man credit. Now, what happens is he almost looks like KD. So we compare him to KD.
Body-wise, you mean?
Body-wise.
Like height?
Obviously, height. Obviously, he's more jacked.
Stringy, like lanky.
But that's what we compare him to. So I told you guys, I don't hate KD. I dislike him as a person in the sense he's corny to me. All the Twitter stuff, the what is it called?
Burner
The
account.
burner accounts, all that stuff. But who do I always say I love to watch play?
KD.
KD, because it's like it's amazing. I think watching him, I like watching him better than LeBron. With Giannis, I am coming to learn and respect how he affects all aspects of the game, and he's a soldier. He is mentally tough to airball free throws and say, you know what, I'm gonna come back and shoot 12 more.
Yep.
Yeah,
Versus
no,
a Ben
he's-
Simmons who shook.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he definitely has. And the thing about when people say Giannis isn't skilled, it's like it's crazy because
Yeah.
like what he does is like
No bag.
You literally have never seen it before.
Never.
He literally gets the ball every time and does a fast break.
Right.
Like you know how in shape and
Right.
crazy you have to be able to get to the rim every possession.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he can't shoot, so they build a wall on him, and sometimes he may miss or throw something up.
Right,
But he
crazy.
still has the willpower to get the rebound, run. You
Doesn't
don't see
quit.
that. Yeah.
I hate his post-game interviews. Like, I know Stephen A. Smith got killed this week about saying about show autonomy and the whole getting an interpreter or
Nigeria.
whatever. But oh my God, when Giannis talk on the mic, it's hilarious. It's like listening to an ESL. Oh God, you know what? Go ahead.
Yeah, hey.
This is you know who couldn't be on ESPN, man. We know who couldn't be. He gonna be getting cancel culture.
What's your thoughts on Giannis, man?
I think Giannis is probably a top 2 or 3 player in the league, and the reason why I say that is this: I think Kevin Durant's better than Giannis, but the difference between what Giannis can do for your team and what KD can do for your team is that, yes, in closing time in the playoffs, like I want KD
Facts.
120 times out of 100.
That's facts.
But I think to be the best player in the league, you have to dominate the regular season
Yep.
and then dominate the playoffs.
Right.
Like, you know, we've reached a point where it's like Bron's still great, but he's not as dominant during the regular season.
Right.
Then flips it up. KD's kind of going to that point in his career, getting into his mid-30s
Picks and
where he wants to
choose.
coast
Yeah.
and then playoffs turn it on.
Right.
You have to give credit to guys that do it, that carry their team all season long, and then do it in the playoffs for another 2 months. So I'm very impressed by Giannis. Like you guys said, where he's airballing free throws,
Right.
and then he'll come back and hit the next one.
Right.
And I can tell that there is something. I can't quite put my finger on it, but a lot of former players and current players really don't respect him. And
Why is that?
I don't know. I was
CP kind of threw a little shade at him too.
Did he?
He's like he's still a 2-time MVP, but he just doesn't score like how the others do or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
But he's
saying.
averaging
It's
like
all
30
about, like,
something.
yeah, like damn, because he
Well-
don't score like you.
Kendrick Perkins has been driving this thing, and other
Yeah,
people pick
yeah,
it
the
up.
Batman,
And that-
Robin, yeah.
like which is a stupid conversation anyway. But Jalen Rose said, "Yo, I played against Kobe and Shaq
Yep.
in the finals." He said Shaq dominated us for 40 to 44 minutes,
Yep.
and then Kobe would close the game.
Right.
But I think why it's so hard for people to grasp that now is because you never saw Shaq bring the ball up. You never
Yeah.
saw Shaq try to
Right,
operate
right.
from
That's
the
a great
perimeter,
point.
and you're seeing Greek do that. You're
Right.
thinking he has that game,
Yeah.
and that's just not his game.
Yeah.
So it's just,
Yeah,
when you
that's
don't see something,
That's a great point. Yo, listen, Giannis, keep your head up, man. We love what you're doing. I got money on the Bucks, right?
I think
If
we
get
all
it
do.
done- yeah,
Yeah.
we do. If you get it done in 6, I'll be happy. If you want to entertain us to get the viewership up, we could do it in 7. But that guy, like, this is why I'm so confident in the Bucks. I understand Kevin Durant had only half a hearted and no Kyrie, but that's still Kevin freaking Durant. And he went toe-to-toe with him Game 6 and Game 7, and not the toe-to-toe like I'm guarding you, you guarding me, but pivotal, especially in that overtime. He scored that basket over Kevin Durant. People, and at that, no, actually, no, it wasn't. He didn't shoot. Kevin Durant
He
did.
did. He had the
airball.
little. No, he had the little. He had the
Floater,
jump
remember the
hook
jump?
over.
Yeah, over Kevin Durant. So I just, like, to me, that Nets team, even half a Harden, is still, to me, more dangerous than the Suns team. And that's how much highly I think of Kevin Durant.
I don't think
know.
without Harden, without
or
Kyrie,
Kyrie.
it's not really dangerous because
Yeah.
you just focusing on one guy. The Suns is good, man. They got
they have
they
a
got
solid
shooters, they got slashers, they got big men. So
They're just not deep.
Can I hear you say it? Cam Johnson is better than Kyle Kuzma.
He's not better than Kyle Kuzma.
Oh, my God.
And
Dot,
Cam
dot,
Johnson,
dot.
he's
Keep
not
it a
better.
buck.
he plays it. I don't know if he's better than him, but
He's a better role player.
He plays his role better than Kyle Kuzma's able to play on.
You want to know what it is, man?
I want
It's
Kyle
like,
Kuzma to go to another team.
yo,
so
a lot
bad.
of it is like when you go play with Bron, you're gonna be diminished. Whether you're a superstar, mid-tier player, a role player, you're gonna win.
Diminish or criticize? Like, what?
Bo-
Like, that's
so,
two different things.
No, both.
Both.
Your role's gonna be diminished.
Oh, okay.
And your opportunities are gonna lessen. And if you lose, it can't possibly be LeBron's fault. Like, the only thing I really can't stand about LeBron is that it's not so much him, even though he does try to paint the picture, but whenever they lose, like in the past, whenever a superstar lost, like, yo, I remember Kobe getting torn apart for
it's
losing.
the superstar's
KG, Weber.
It's always so and so didn't hit a shot. So
Now
and
it's
so
like,
wasn't
oh,
doing their job.
Kyle Korver was opening up. Like, what? Listen, like how we talk about certain guys, like, I'm like, listen, if you was waiting on Dante DiVincenzo to be the Ty Turner in this series, you wasn't going to win anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so it's safe to say you're not watching Space Jam.
No. Yo, listen, I don't like LeBron's game as far as, like, it's not pleasing to the eye.
Yeah.
But I appreciate everything that he does
Everything
away
he
from
does.
basketball,
He's
man.
really
And that's
that
the
guy.
thing, man. Like, I feel like this new generation of being able to watch sports is like, everybody wants you to be like a nice guy. Like, back then, I remember there was sports villains. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't like LeBron, but he opened the school, but look what he does. Like, I don't care. That's good. But, like,
Yeah,
I'm
but
talking about
listen,
him as a basketball player. I don't
Right,
like LeBron.
And I respect that. You have an opinion to criticize. But what ends up happening is I feel a lot of people tie in their personal thing versus his game.
Can I ask
right?
a question?
And then that's when you hear people caping up for him. Like, yo, how can you dislike a guy who speaks on this
We
and
live in a
that?
stand culture. Like, people, like, if you say something bad about Kobe,
Oh, my God.
I'm on your ass. If you say something bad about Kyrie or Steph, dots on your ass. If you say something bad about Peyton Manning, Kawhi Leonard,
Russell Westbrook.
you're on their ass.
Meek Mill.
And remember, Meek got killed for that Kobe
Yes, he
line
did.
because
Oh,
of the stands
that was so-
of Kobe, whatever the case may be. But if that was in a rap battle, URL TV, that's fine.
But URL lets a lot of stuff go that wouldn't fly in the public.
But that's what I'm saying. It's all
Let me ask you this
about,
question.
You know, where you
So, I've been doing a lot of paperwork lately. Just doing a lot of paperwork, planning, all this and the third. I'm listening. So I'll let my YouTube just play.
Yeah.
And I've stumbled across some, like, weird, like, pages that I guess are cool with Kwame Brown.
Okay.
And everyone, they always come at Stephen A. Smith.
Right.
And so when we talk about criticizing guys, like, do you guys think that Stephen A. is unnecessarily critical or more critical of black athletes than he is of all athletes?
What do you think?
I think so. And I think, like, I know where I'm from and the way, like, Kwame Brown, like, or my uncles and stuff, because my grandmother's from down south on my mom's side,
Yeah.
they gonna roll with that Kwame Brown kind of thought process. I know where I grew up, like, they ain't gonna like Stephen A. Smith just the way he, like, I feel like you don't. I get it. Like, you guys have taught me, like, it's TV. You have to do it. Like,
Right,
you know what I'm saying? But it's just, like, it just sucks that, like you have to go so hard and you have to say it in a certain type of way that is, like, damn, like,
See, but well, all right, so granted, you know,
That's a good point, Doc.
Yeah,
I
if that's
know
your
what you're
perspective,
talking
that's
about.
his perspective. My thing is, because obviously you guys know when I am driving, especially long distance, I've been listening to Stephen A. Smith for a long time. And that just lets me know people don't really watch the entirety of the show or listen to all the topics. They just look at the headlines and the shock value.
That's true too. That's true too.
So the Shade Rooms, the Hollywood Unlocks, the Outkicks, who's a Republican thing that try to do
he's
the
nasty.
goals. He's nasty.
Clay Travis is nasty.
Yeah, that type of people, Kwame Brown, like they gonna pick and choose. But he got on. He's the one that's been the only component about black coaches getting opportunity in the NFL. In GM positions in the basketball as well. He's been on what's that coach, Oklahoma State with the mullet, Gundy that had the ONA shirt. Got on him about the racist practices. Like people don't want to show that.
I get that part, but I feel like you can't have it both ways. You know what I'm saying?
He's not trying to have it both ways.
You can do it that way, but like back then we laughed, and that Kwame Brown clip is hilarious.
Right.
But it's like, yo, that was wrong. Like, that's not in no part of journalism or TV okay. Like that Kwame's not just supposed to be too sensitive and supposed to just eat that.
Turn
That's
it to
wrong.
a roasting session.
Or like Westbrook, when Westbrook broke his triple-double record.
Yep.
Instead of you could go ham on. I don't like Russell Westbrook's game.
Yep.
But that day I could say, damn, he did it. Congrats.
Right.
You on TV. You cape for black people.
Right.
Like Russell Westbrook's a black man. He just broke a historic record.
Yeah.
You didn't have to add that part today.
Right.
You could have did it the next episode.
Right.
You could have did it.
But you know what's going to end up happening? Let's say if he's doing the ideal way that black people who view social media want him to do, the other side will get on him too. All he does is keep up. And then that's a thing, like, do you want him to be objective? Do you want him to be carefree and actually say his thoughts on what he thinks no matter what your race is? Or do you want him to be up there just caping for African Americans and make Max Kellerman caper for white people? Like, it just, it can't be that way.
I think Stephen A., for the most part, is solid. Like he steps in every now and again. Like for every time he'll say something stupid about the Nigerian team, he had an interview with Melo to try to get him back in the league.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So there's a lot of different things that Stephen A. has done over the course of time. I think some of it is jealousy.
Facts. $12 million
bag is crazy. And I think that a lot of times people are just not knowledgeable. So you guys know, like. So when I used to work in Boston, I used to listen to 98.5 The Sports Hub, and they barely talk about basketball.
Yep.
They talk about football most of the time and hockey a little bit.
Yep.
So white dudes talking about hockey, baseball, and football, and they be shredding other white dudes.
Right.
Like, yo, I heard Michael Felger call Bill Belichick everything but a child of God.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Talk about these hockey players crazy. Talk about baseball players crazy. I just think that it's less about race and more about like Stephen A. is more so covering the NBA and NFL, and like he got in big trouble when he talked about the dude that Conor McGregor beat up. What's his name? Cowboy.
Yeah, Cowboy.
And said, "Oh man, like Conor took his hardest in the third, and the dude Joe Rogan, who does all the MMA. How could you say that?
Right.
He's a fighter. Like, you know, it's honor and respect. Like, it's just."
And I'm sorry, man.
Wait. One more point about Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown talks about, I put my mom on a golf course when I was 18. Yeah. Kwame Brown's one of the most naturally gifted players I seen growing up. But to be honest, I get being mad about the way people talk about you, but you didn't live up to expectations.
Right. That's a fact.
For whatever reason.
That's a fact. He didn't live up to expectations, the number one pick, but we look at it different, and it's easy to say, and I can tell by the way Zeem's looking, like he's like, but it's like, yo, like, if not for nothing, you're the best baseball player, Josh, and you know me. We're in the same Hollywood circle, and like there's a chance we could rub shoulders, and I just go on and I say that day. That's gonna hit so different. It's gonna hit so different if I talk about you in a certain way. He degraded him. It's funny, we laugh, but he degraded him. If any of us go on this podcast right now and we talk about somebody locally and we degrade them and they run into us, they're not gonna be happy.
And that's
but
life.
My thing is, but one second. My thing is, you saying we can't say Kwame is acting crazy for doing this. You know what I'm saying? That's what any person would do.
No, I don't think he's acting crazy.
I don't know why he waited so long.
I just think, he's acting
I don't know why he waited so
ultra. I'm not even going to say sensitive, because obviously he's a grown-ass man and, he can handle his. especially Stephen A. I'm just saying you can't pick and choose, right? You're in the NBA. You're the number one pick. The greatest player of all time is the one who selected you. All right, your career didn't pan out. Then you say MJ was too harsh on you. Then this, then that. But when we speak on it in your career and what we expected you to be, when we say something, oh, we're hating. Oh, look, you got the white man attacking
No,
another black
that's not
man.
how it stemmed. So he was quiet.
Yep.
And he hasn't been in the NBA for however many years.
And this started, this whole thing.
Because of Steven Jackson and Matt
Steven
Barnes.
Jackson and Matt Barnes.
They brought up his name.
But all they did was make a laugh and
But
chuckle. It wasn't. It
matter.
didn't
Yo,
even.
somebody make a laugh and chuckle about me, and I don't got nothing to do with it. You
have the right. Yeah, you have the right. Yeah, I
have the
agree
right.
to
I
that.
could go
But I'm
hard.
just saying, you like
We
that
just look
same
at it
mom and golf course that you're caping up for. Be like, I ain't worried about all this because I was able to take.
Eventually,
care
you're
of my
allowed
family.
to. You're allowed to defend yourself.
I don't mind Kwame Brown talking basketball, but like he got mad personal with dudes.
Yeah, like he took it out of pocket.
But if not for nothing, if you feel that type of what he said, and I respect it,
Yeah.
you could say he took it personal. But at one point, what you find personal, and he's saying you say, oh, it's just my job.
Right.
He found personal, so I respected Kwame Brown because he said, I'm gonna talk this way. You gonna talk that way? I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it. And if you got a problem, we can meet up.
And then, but my issue with Kwame Brown, because I agree with all that. I'm not even gonna argue with that. My issue with him is him trying to create this narrative that Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, whoever says anything, it's the white man behind them pushing them to attack another black man. That's my only thing. That I'm just like.
Is he? And that's another conversation.
Is that not what he's doing?
No,
I'm
saying that's another conversation.
saying.
But I don't think he's lying there. But that's another conversation.
So
you know
you really no, we're gonna have that conversation.
Not for nothing,
You think there's a memo out? Listen, I need you to do X, Y, and Z.
There's a way. When they go for these shows, there's writers,
Yeah.
there's producers that want you to
They have the morning meeting.
that want you to go a certain direction, that want you to harp on certain things. So yeah, they do say, all right, this is gonna get us this way. Let's focus on this. So there are people.
So you think these networks are saying, "Hey, you're the black man.
No, not
I
saying
want to talk
not
about
saying
this
those,
to attack the other black
Zeem
men."
again,
That's
left
what Kwame
left to
Brown
right, right or wrong.
alluded to.
But they're not
wait,
saying
hold-
those
hold-
exact
hold-
words,
wait,
but they're
let me-
putting them in position to be able to do things like that.
And you think consciously these black
No.
You're
anchors
not
in
thinking
the
about it
narrative-
like that at the
Nah,
time, but that's the reality of what's
what
happening.
he's saying is,
I
yo,
disagree with
here's
that
what
wholeheartedly.
Kwame Brown's saying. So, let's say a black man, let's say like the whole Ray Rice situation. So obviously it's gonna be talked about. He's a famous Super Bowl winning running back, all pro. He got caught on tape decking his wife. So they're gonna talk about it, but then they'll say they won't talk about like Ben Roethlisberger's situation as much.
They have,
But not.
That's
But
what I'm saying.
I'm saying
But
that.
what was the biggest story? The actual video of showing Ray Rice hitting his, or
Zeem,
just hearing it in print
Zeem,
in the police report?
That's just one example. But what I'm saying to you is that there are times where the coverage does lean negatively
It's the
towards
show.
black men.
It's the
like
show,
like Richard Sherman is having like a mental breakdown right now. Right, he's having a mental he's really struggling with a lot of demons. People couldn't wait to jump on that, and I don't think, and they barely even talked about that white dude that beat his
the black woman that got hurt. And the thing is, you know what kind of the thing is too. The Drink Champs interview with Jonesy, she said we weren't. The people behind the scenes, the producers of the show, were basically making us do that. But at the time, we're not thinking like, oh, this is really what they're doing. We're trying to make money.
All right, real quick, and I know that's segue into our next topic, talking about that. But and this is why, I went to school for communications and minor in mass media. At the end of the day, Richard Sherman's hair and that white guy that you're referring to that beat his black, girlfriend, what he did was horrendous. But what I'm trying to tell you, there's levels of the clickbaits in what wants to be seen. Does that make sense, Doc? Keep it a buck.
It makes sense, and what makes sense.
Yeah, and to kind of bring it to the next topic, Richard Sherman is dealing with a crazy situation in Seattle, and Dwayne Haskins is dealing with a abusive situation in Las Vegas. So Dwayne Haskins, which was a shocker, got his tooth knocked out by his wife. And they said that she hit him so hard and so many times that her hand was too swollen to fit into handcuffs.
Crazy. And it was reported that Dwayne Haskins didn't retaliate.
He did not
He
retaliate.
didn't swing back, which kudos to him. Because I can't lie, I'm hemming somebody up.
Yeah,
or,
both leaving with no teeth.
yeah, I'm doing a leg lock or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, something has to give. So kudos to him. And I'm just happy. I'm not happy about the situation at all. But I'm happy there's an example out of there that, first of all, anybody can be in an abusive relationship, man or female.
Yep. And be manipulated.
And be manipulated. Also, secondly, that he didn't react in a physical nature because everyone just assumed the male in that situation would be the aggressor. And then, thirdly, I want that female to be prosecuted to the max. Now, obviously, you're going to need a viable witness or whatever, and that would have to be Dwayne Haskins. And I'm under the impressions that he looks like a young lover boy, whatever. He's not going to move forward with that. But just an example of the same energy that we give males who do those egregious acts on females, it needs to be the same energy. And that's what I hope to come for that. And I'll let you guys go before I go into the Richard Sherman thing.
Yeah, man, it's tough to see. Like, you know, oh man, it's crazy. Like, I thought it was, I didn't even believe it when I first read that story. But like Zeem said, like, you know, hope she gets, like, you know, what's coming to her. Like, you know, had that been, like, you know, a black man at that, like, I feel like everybody would have been coming down on him. Yep. Rightfully so. But
right.
if we want that equality between the genders, like, you know, that has to be, like, you know, taken care of the appropriate way.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny that I actually heard about her maybe like 2 or 3 months ago because she was a D1 basketball player at Michigan State, and she's a very attractive girl. And something happened when her dad played in the league. That's why she got that funny last name.
Okay, yeah.
And he had just died. So like I was like hearing about his family.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, her like dad died like tragically. But I say that to say is that, man, as a man, I think that we have to kind of change the way we think. Like, we have to be able to extend grace to other men who are being abused, whether it's physically or mentally.
Right.
Whether they're being manipulated in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because we get taught, like, you got to be tough, you got to be macho,
right.
man. Just, you know, just hem her up.
Right.
You know, just put her in a leg lock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just, you know, it takes years, decades for things to change, but that kid got his tooth knocked out.
Right. Yeah, and that got to be some kind of like sickness going on with her to hit him so many times where her hand is swollen. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Now, granted, just like I always advocate for black men, let all the facts come out. Let's hear all the context behind it. I know a police report's a police report, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they're just gathering evidence, but let's see if it goes to court. So, you know, I do want to give the black female in this situation that opportunity to have her day in court, whatever the case may be. But if I'm just going off the police report, he handled himself well. Kudos to him. Sorry that happened to him, but just imagine if it was on the other foot. They'd be saying, get him out the NFL. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Another black man beating a black woman.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the narrative would have been crazy. And this is a story that I hope picks up.
Yo, I remember watching, like, as a kid, watching a Lifetime movie.
Right.
And it was like this like police officer, this white dude, his wife was just whooping his ass, and, and like he was afraid to tell. And then the story was like, yo, at the end of the story, there's like such and such percentage of men are abused by women, and just to kind of see. And I've never really seen a situation like that.
It just
until
made me
now.
think of like a Law and Order SVU episode I seen. Like,
where the wife was raping the husband.
I was like,
oh, we're not laughing at that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just that we're laughing at we all knew the episode.
Right. Because I was like, wow, that could happen. And I'm learning like scientific things within the episode. Like, even I'm like, but how can a dude get hard? Like, your psychological anxiety, whatever, could get you aroused and taken advantage of. So these are all facts that people are not even privy to. And just quick on the Richard Sherman thing, I'll say this. And this is just my personal opinion, and especially everything that's been going on over the last couple of years. If a female calls the police on me, I can never be with that female ever again. I'm sorry.
But
You gotta.
She didn't call the police on him. She called the police because he was a danger to himself.
Exactly. So sometimes you have to call the police. If you
Listen, Doc, and I'm gonna let you go. I am sorry, and this is why I preface it. What's been going on for the last couple of years, and honestly, this has been going on for years. You call the police on me. You are basically putting me in a life and death situation that. Yes, you're seeking help for me, but because maybe drunk, on drugs, or whatever the case may be, when the police show up, they don't care about none of that. They just see that I'm black, I'm aggressive, I'm not following demands, and that could end badly. Thank God for Richard Sherman. The only bad thing that happened, they stuck a canine on him that chased him and bit his ankle that he had to go to the hospital right after.
But you can't say that. But you can't say because not for nothing. What if her life's in danger?
There's little kids in the
What if a family member's life in danger? So don't call the police. And if you listen to the police report, she said he drank 2 bottles of liquor, vodka and Hennessy. So if I drink 2 bottles, I might gotta go get liquor pumped out of me.
Listen, I hear you, and I'm not even saying you're wrong because I actually agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying me personally.
So what? So, so what I've heard is he's that CTE situation. Like that's something that he's kind of battling. Like he's
for quite some time.
And for her to call the police, that means he's having episodes. For her to go to her family's house.
Well, he almost killed himself because she had to get away from their house. He drove drunk from their house to her family's house,
hit a construction site.
And then I think the reason why she called, from what I could piece together, was because he attacked her father or brother.
It was an uncle.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest, Zeem, in that case? Or maybe let's forget all of that. Let's say he's going to do some harm to himself. What is she supposed to do as the wife?
I don't know. Call a hospital.
Police actually did a good job.
The hospital not going to, what the hospital going to do?
I don't know.
The police. So she said to the police, like, yo, when you get here, he's going to be like in an agitated state. So the police parked a couple blocks away and walked over to him.
And they said the conversation was cordial at first until when?
Until they
said,
asked him to arrest.
Under arrest.
Why are they arresting him for? If I'm having a cordial conversation with you.
Because you did a hit and run.
You did a hit and run. You're driving drunk. You try to break into somebody's house. So you get arrested for that.
Yeah, listen, and in this circumstances, I hear you in the sense of that. I'm just letting you, me personally, I understand the woman had to do what she had to do to protect maybe the kids, the rest of her family in that situation, and even, thinking of the betterment of me. But I know when I get bailed out, we got to go our separate ways. And that's just me personally. You cannot call the cops on a black man in this country at this time.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
I don't agree with
That's
that.
not fair to say.
No. I'm saying if we're in a relationship.
Yeah, but like sometimes I'm gonna let you because what I'm gonna take if you're gonna kill yourself.
Yep.
Or I'm gonna take the chances of the police get in there and in good faith them actually trying to help you before me not doing anything because I'm worried they're gonna kill you and letting you kill yourself.
That's a tough, and they're married with kids. It's different.
It's right. And listen, you're making all great points. I want to make it clear that you are not saying anything wrong. I'm just letting you know my own personal thing and what I have seen over the last couple of years. It was just a recent incident where someone called the police on these black kids and it turned into controversy, and the cops end up killing and were like, I didn't want you to.
The girl with the knife. The girl tried to stab.
Yeah, that one. When they tried to jump her. Remember? Allegedly, she lived in a group home, whatever the case may be, and she's the one that actually called the police when they came. I get it. They seen the knife, whatever. But I'm just saying, that's where the state of African Americans in this country that it's a possibility you're not making it home if the police is getting called on you.
So let me ask you a question. You say don't call the police, and let's say Richard Sherman and she's still trying to reason with him, and then that night, God forbid, he ends up killing somebody. Well, then what he supposed to do?
This isn't the first time because I guess that
I want to make sure we're clear.
He had an order where he's not allowed to have weapons because he's a danger to himself.
Well, yeah, he tried to get a license or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and they denied it.
But that's somebody. I don't know.
You want, yo, you
gonna
wonder
talk
what
about the
happens, man?
backstory
But
with that.
yo, like you gotta understand, like yo, this dude's like in the prime of his life, a crazy athlete,
Yep.
big dude. Like she's probably scared to death. He's probably beating up the uncle. Like they're like. I understand your point. Like I always worry about what happens if one of my neighbors calls the police on, because I live in a predominantly white neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Like what happens if one of my neighbors calls the police on me? I'm just sitting out on my porch or standing out there at night, and the cops. That's something to be worried about because I'm not doing anything. But when it's a situation where like it's going sideways really, really badly, and someone could die,
And you can hear her on the phone. She's like, "Stop, Richard! Stop,
Please.
Richard!"
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like it's like.
so I your point's well taken, and I agree with you in some circumstances.
Yeah.
Like I said, I hope Richard gets well. Hopefully, he gets the help that he needs. Right now, bad timing because he's a free agent right now with no home, and I can't see a team unless they're
Yeah, he might
desperate.
be done,
Yeah, he
man.
might be done. He had a hell of
You
a
know
stellar
what though,
career.
man? This thing's more important than football.
Yeah, and he's a
he's
Stanford.
made a
He'll
lot of
figure it out.
money.
He's a Stanford
Yeah.
graduate. He'll
Right,
figure
right,
it out.
He's made a ton of money. You know what I'm saying? He's not a stupid guy. Like,
Yeah, just
fine.
get the help you need. And
I don't know. Like I
Let
said,
me ask this.
I love police officers. I love what you do. But right now, we're at a state where I personally, when it comes to heightened situations, I do not trust them whatsoever.
Nah,
That's just
I'm
me
a-
personally.
So speaking of heightened situations with police, there was a incident maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago on Sayles Street in Providence, where the police were called, and then there was, there were two families one on this side of the street, one on that side of the street, arguing with each other, trying to fight each other. It's been a constant issue. The police come, they try to disperse it. Things go sideways, and there's mace, there's people getting thrown to the ground, people getting thrown in the paddy wagon, and it was a big discussion in our group chat once the full body cam
Right.
footage came out.
Right.
And where do you guys, it was a situation where the people kind of were out of control. You know what I'm saying? Where do you guys stand on that issue? Because it was a big thing in Providence.
I mean, both sides could have did
Better.
and you could say that about anything. I just think like we just heard Zeem said, like basically call the cops in this area that you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So, but I just feel like they were acting in a certain way. It like gets to a point where it's
What's
like
a certain way, Doc?
no, they were aggressive
Out of
towards each
control.
other.
Huh?
Out of control.
They were out of control. Like they were clearly heated. Like in that same video, you can see the police officer shouting to whoever house is on the right, "Go back in your house. Go back." He told them about 5 times, "Go back in your house." They kept coming out. So at some point, the situation has to be dealt with and handled.
Right.
We can't always talk certain things out. Sometimes, you have to use restraint, in the most appropriate way possible. But what I do think on the other side of that, there was also said in the video that this issue's always happening.
It's the 41st time they've been called.
Yeah. So at one point, does the state or the police department, whoever's responsible, put in a plan or put them in a situation where that doesn't happen anymore? So you got to also look at that.
Twofolds. This is why I always like to wait, right? Because the initial video dropped, and I'm telling you, everybody
Social
on
media
my
went crazy.
algorithm was like,
Algorithm.
that's my word of the day, algorithm. I just loved it. Was defund the police.
They beat up kids. Yeah.
They beat up kids. Let's go to downtown, rally and protest. Black Lives Matter. This, and you know me. I'm always, yeah. And then when you see the full thing and get the full context, it's like, all right, damn. I still don't approve of what the police officers did in that moment. I feel like, what happened to police officers de-escalating? What does de-escalating look like nowadays?
Well,
is Mason considered
I've never seen
de-escalating?
the police
I've never
de-escalate.
seen it.
I've never seen it
Every-
either.
it-
but
it
isn't that
happens-
part of their protocol?
You
Is
want
that
to know
what
what,
they're
man?
supposed to do?
It happens sparingly where police are able to de-escalate a situation. But I think in a situation like that, the people are charged up and the
Yep.
police are charged up. Where maybe they could have, where the police, where I think made a mistake, what Shawn's talking about, what you're talking about is that you come into a situation And some of the people in our group chat, in our large group chat, they're animals, they're wild, they got no behavior, they're this, they're that.
And that's why I said, what behavior? I was trying to bait you in.
Some of that,
you about to say ghetto? Is that ghetto?
No, I'm saying, but
man.
some of that, you know what I'm saying? Some of that,
that.
you know, and unfortunately, you know, some of the behavior was, you know, out of control, but the officers are coming in with that mentality. Like, they're looking down on these people.
Right.
And granted, you know, it's tough because you're constantly dealing with people who are committing crime or out of control or drunk or high or whatever.
42nd time coming over there. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, like, they're still people.
Right.
And secondly, man, like, don't look down on them because there's a reason why they're acting that way. They're in a tough situation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, they force people into these bad neighborhoods with no jobs, no opportunity, poor education, and then they look at them.
And I get that. That's a good point, but I feel like that mentality is never gonna fix it because no one cares. Like, you know, the police department don't look at it from that aspect. That's more of like a government thing.
Right.
And then the police officer that may have grew up in, like, you know,
Coventry.
or not even Coventry, a police officer that may have grew up on the south side of Providence and became a police officer has that mindset like, yo, I grew up the same place and I'm here now and you're doing that. So I understand what you're saying, but it has to be, because that's never going to change. That's never going to change. Like, you know, everybody's going to go to Prov or certain areas in Providence or any inner city in the country, and they're going to say, this is the ghetto. Like, they're acting like this, they're acting like that. And they're never going to realize there's a reason why they're in those kind of situations.
Right.
So
that's a deeper
that's a deeper
dive.
that nobody really wants to even dive into for the most part.
But just for the surface aspect of it, I just think the respect level is gone.
On both sides.
On both sides. Yeah, on both sides. Because there was a point in time where, man, that red and blue come behind me. I sober up. I could be intoxicated, inebriated. I sober up. Hey, sir, how you doing, sir? Yep. Like, you know what I mean? I get my Fresh Prince of Bel-Air voice counting, you know, Banks voice on. But now I'm just like, what up? What happened? What's up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, my perspective on knowing that their job training, how they view me already by just pulling me over, makes me know, like, no, I'm not intimidated by you guys no more. Now I know you guys have displayed on different occasions that you don't respect me. Why am I going to respect you?
And that's a great point. You hit that on the nail. So I think the next thing that has to be done, me personally, I don't ever see it being done. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
It has to get to, like, all right, what can we do so this situation doesn't happen again? You know what I'm saying? And does anybody care enough to do that?
Right. And I think it goes to a larger, you know, perspective. Like I said, as for another pod, we can deepen that. But us as individuals, we have to stop putting ourselves in a situation where we even interact with them. Right? Yeah. And then that's meaning like life-changing styles, what we associate and doing, so on and so forth. So I make sure I do everything possible that I'm not even engaging. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I know it's so cliche to say, but there are some good cops out there. You know what I mean?
I think they're good cops, but what they represent in the whole isn't good.
Exactly, and that's my biggest thing. Their practices, their training, their philosophy. Like when I go to work, we have a mission statement. We have a vision and goals. We're representing this, and I make sure I feel like that's the same thing. And when you say, all right, damn, I got called to this spot for the 42nd time, I'm going in there with already a negative, frustrated mindset. Then when I get there, nah, shut the F up. Who are you? Don't touch me. No, you come in. No, I ain't coming in. And it becomes a power struggle. And I was watching that video, and I just seen it escalating. But then I'm like, you're supposed to be de-escalation.
And that's the thing. That's what I say. I don't feel like it ever is going to change because at the end of the day, humans are humans. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And whatever is taught in the police academy, whatever's taught to police, I just think it isn't something that's ever gonna say, let me listen to you. Like that's something that you're gonna have to, like, you know, you're gonna have to be a player in a sense of, like, you're a police officer, they're teaching you one way, but you know better. You have some morals to you, and you're like, all right, let me not be this way to you. Let me have a conversation with you.
It's not easy.
But in reality, coming from up top, you know, whoever's implementing the policies and everything, they're not thinking about that. So until that changes, I don't think anything's going to change.
It's a tough conversation, man, because
No, it's easy.
No, but I was
It's
just
yeah.
so I began disappointed when I hear us, like, black and brown people, talk about black and brown people like that. Because hold on, listen, right? So those people,
I'm with you.
but my thing is, like, what people don't understand is that, yeah, like, they were out of control. And, what happened, and it escalated to a certain point, and they got arrested, and they got maced, and they got, and they got thrown to the ground, thrown against cars. But don't think for a second that just because we got good jobs and we drive a nice car, they'll do the same thing to us.
For sure, they definitely will.
I'm not saying us in this on this podcast.
It could happen to anybody.
But like, I've seen it, bro. Like, I'm a person that I'm the most docile person in the world, but I've never had a good interaction or a positive interaction with a police officer. Even saying no, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's always like, it's always some BS. Like, they think that they're above.
Yeah.
So it's tough because people on the low ends getting it from both sides. So you get it from the police and the powers that be, and people who look like you, grew up with you, feel that are sometimes displaying the same attitudes about you that the police do.
Yeah, no. Like, listen, I get with you 110%. And obviously, I have had positive interactions with law enforcement.
Yep.
You know what I mean? One being
It
a
does
family
happen.
member. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then the other one I work with hand in hand at my school.
So let me ask you
resource
this.
officer.
So how do you feel about getting the police officers out of school? I would like your opinion on that.
I think overall, we need to remove them from school. I just think it sets a bad precedent. But I can understand certain schools in their area and the things that they're dealing with advocating for wanting one.
Yeah.
So does that make sense? I'm not trying to tote the line.
So for instance, Mount Vernon High School, they needed police officers there.
Right.
Like, if the shade room was around, what was going on in Mount Vernon Hospital, with, like, because growing up, like, where I was from, the black Americans, African Americans, they always had, like, problems with West Indians, like Jamaicans, whatever.
Right.
So it always was a clash.
Right.
There would be knives. There would be potential to the point there had to be metal detectors put in.
Right.
And then when I went to Mount St. Michael Academy in the Bronx, it was like, all right, well, it's Catholic school in the Bronx, but you have people coming to rob us. So, like, you needed that police officer being there potentially saved a lot of lives.
Right,
you know?
right.
So,
like, who are you gonna call?
Yeah,
the art teacher, real
yeah.
quick.
No behavior
come out
therapist
there.
is helping you from getting robbed right now. You know.
And that's and sorry to cut you off. I apologize.
I wanna hear what you guys say, because you have the direct.
Because that's something that I've been trying to work on with our resource officers. Is like, listen, you know what? We're gonna start doing a focus group. So we'll put flyers up. If people want to go chop it up with you during lunchtime, they have the opportunity to do so. They can ask you anything, do different things. I'm giving them little things that he could do for icebreakers, things of that nature, just to show a different perspective, right? But it is intimidating because a lot of these kids, where they grow up as, it is negative interactions with a police officer. So I try to educate, like, all right, let's try to change the surrounding. But at the end of the day, it was low numbers, right, in regards to student participation, because of their already notion of what police are. And at the end of the day,
social media is not helping.
It's not helping. At the end of the day, I think that's more responsibility on the police officers rather than a kid. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And that's what ends up happening. Like, so me personally, I'm all for, like, I've been studying a lot, school to prison pipeline, and especially, us moving, my particular school moving to restorative practices, you know what I mean? With the equity lens in regards to that. But I'm letting you know that certain areas, due to the high activities of things that are happening in this school, I understand why a district would want to have that. But rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah. So to kind of piggyback off that point, we talked a lot about it in our smaller chat, but I did a lot of research. Obviously, Dot says I love books. I did a lot of research and had interviews and conversations with people who work in the school districts here, and what their thoughts are on the police officers being in the schools. So initial thought behind putting the officers in the schools was supposed to be to stop the school to prison pipeline. Feeling that like if you're in middle school and you see a SRO officer or whatever, then you could have a positive reaction, and that police officer can stop negative things from festering and happening that could actually lead to a student getting arrested. I think that because of just the way like our culture is set up, it's become more like a punishment culture where it's like, you know, certain people at certain schools, you know, if a kid does X, I want them arrested.
Yep.
You know, I want them expelled. Whereas in Dot's situation, when he's talking about these schools in the Bronx and Mount Vernon and other places, like, yeah, you do need a police officers. You need police officers because there's so many kids and it's so you know, it's so wild. But yeah, man, that's gonna be the next
these
big
teachers,
fight.
they ain't stopping nothing.
Nothing, yo.
You're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So it goes twofold. First of all, they're scared, they're not physically capable or able to, and then you're absolutely right. They're they're
instructed not to.
legal wise and instructed not to.
To be honest too, like there's in middle school, like I worked at Nathaniel Green for a little bit.
Yep.
Right on Chalkstone. There's gangs in middle school.
Right,
like, there's
right. Oh,
gangs.
yeah,
so like what do you do? Like you know.
Yeah,
So
when I worked at George Alvarez,
Oh,
shout
you
out-
was the-
Oh my God!
You
Yo,
was
I
on a
broke up
walkie-talkie.
about-
You was on a
yeah, I
walkie-talkie.
broke about 3 fights on that, and it was like, Kazim, can you please help us out? And I was able to de-escalate.
Yeah.
Like that. That's what I was able to do, and maybe because I look like
and
them, I
that comes
talk
to
their
building
language.
a relationship because
Yeah.
if you're the same Kazim and you got that uniform on,
Right.
they're not gonna respond the
Yeah.
same way versus
that's-
Kazim that's the Crusader advisor.
Yeah,
you
no, that's
know?
a great point.
Because of what you represent.
Absolutely. So I think it goes twofold. At the end of the day, I understand public safety. I appreciate them. They do lay their lives on the line. I could just think of this one incident of a dude jumping, in Worcester. I think I told you about that. The kid's father who died to try to save another.
Jumping in the water.
Jumping in the water and end up drowning. Like a tragedy story, whatever. But like, I get it, and it's not an easy job. But I just know you go into that profession knowing these things, man. But that's a great conversation.
We need to touch on that more.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? And I gotta stop calling people out. Those same people that was saying let's protest, let's do all that.
Yeah.
When the facts came out and the body cam,
Yeah,
ghost
quiet.
town. You didn't hear about it anymore.
Well, yo, I think that like
or
what
at least in my algorithm.
Dot was kind of bringing it up, and like so, like we talk a lot about defunding the police, and I think that there should be some money moved around to do some kind of prevention stuff like that. But man, like it's always the people always screaming to completely defund the police is like, have you done anything tough in your life?
Right.
Like,
right,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you're the kind of kid that might not want the cops out of the schools.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a fact.
you might.
That's a
Yo, I
fact.
tell one, I remember freshman year basketball team. It's like basketball, obviously in the winter it gets dark
Yeah.
early. So we got, I'm not gonna say his name in case he watching. But he about 6'7".
Oh,
My mountaineers, he gonna know what I'm talking about. He's saying, I love you, 6'7". He about 6'7", and he takes the city bus home.
oh.
So he's
Mount Vernon?
No, so he lived in the Bronx.
Yeah.
So he got to take it was the BX16.
Yeah.
He got to get on the city bus. So he's all 6'7". He used to have the headphones, like all tall, walking.
Yeah,
6'7" freshman. Comes back in, running face all bloody. Coach, they robbed me. So it was a good thing that we had that police officer there and the coach and the police officer run around the block looking for the kids. So just to kind of make them feel safer, like, yo, we got somebody with you, like you could get on that bus, so just tough situations.
Yo, fellas, man.
You already know.
You already know. Great pod. These are my guys, man. I'm letting you know. I really talk to these dudes every single day.
It's sick how much we talk to each other.
Yeah, it's really nuts, man. But make sure you subscribe. If I was you, I would listen on Instagram, on TikTok, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube. Once again, shout out to the production team, The Plug, Go DJ. Appreciate all the love and the support that you've been showing us. Like I said, we're just getting it started, and this is going to be a continuous thing. We're going to continue to get great and a lot of more content coming your way, man. So we out, man.
Peace.